views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Prescience Life Radio with Mia Simone. Mia is an avant-garde intuitive consultant, visionary, coach, and entrepreneur who guides her daily life using the gifts of her inner being. She is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Establish focus and expand your self-confidence, personal power, and create direction. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. Now here is your host, Mia Simone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mia Simone, and this is Prescience Life Radio that you're listening to. Later on, after this first segment, we're going to be taking calls, and I have Intuitive Astrologer Amy Morgan. She has a unique practice incorporating Western and Eastern charts. She provides detailed readings for her clients, and she's available to answer specific questions about life path, career, relationships, health, relocation, spiritual growth. I can't speak highly enough of her. She's helped me considerably, particularly with all of my health issues. And after years of seeing doctors, she seemed to really nail exactly what I was needing, and I really felt. So I really thank her for that. She is only available for phone readings or for private events. Her website is astrologybyamy.com, and you can reach her at 310-227-6184. And again, I'm Mia Simone. I can be reached at 310-409-0333, and my office is located in West Hollywood. I'm an avant-garde intuitive consultant, entrepreneur, and I invest in both monetary and spiritual endeavors. I wanted to talk a little bit today about an experience that I had this last week, and it was quite interesting. I had a little bit of an emergency. I had to go to the ER, and after waiting 9 hours in excruciating pain, I was finally treated. And it's really interesting because the incident that happened to me, I won't go into details, but it was really traumatic and frightening, and I didn't know what was happening to my body. And that was the first terror that I felt. And I think the second infliction was going to the emergency room and feeling like total lack of compassion from anyone, the doctors, the nurses. I was, left in a waiting room it was around 6 or 7 hours. And I just wanted to say a couple things about that I noticed over the past couple of years, I have had to make several visits to the hospital, and they've been rather unpleasant. And I would just like to encourage anyone and everyone, particularly in the healthcare industry, that they need to try to develop some kind of compassion and connect with people, even though it's an emergency. I understand that, and there may not be time for compassion, but sometimes when we're physically injured, and emotionally injured, sometimes the emotional injuries can last with us much, much longer than the actual physical injuries. And that's sort of how I felt at the time. I felt like it was a complete inconvenience, and it really inspired me to start looking at books that I have read in the past. And one of the first books that came into my mind was My Stroke of Insight by Jill Bolt Taylor. And she was in the 70s. She was 37. She's a Harvard a trained brain scientist, and she experienced a massive stroke in the left hemisphere of her brain. And as she observed her mind deteriorate to the point where she could not walk, talk, read, or write, or recall any of her life within 4 hours, she alternated between the euphoria of the intuitive and kinesthetic right brain, and she felt a sense of complete well-being and peace. And the logical, sequential left brain, which recognized she was having a stroke, enabled her to seek help before she was completely lost. And I'm actually paraphrasing this from some of her book. And it took her 8 years to fully recover. And Jill's work was inspired by her own personal tragedy. Her brother in his early 30s was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And, it's why she became so invested in studying the mind. And what had happened for her is she recognized and was able to access, and in the book she talks about her right and left brains, and some of the comments that she makes in her book were rather fascinating. She talks about having access to the right side of her brain and kind of what occurred. And I just wanted to read a little bit from her book as I was looking for places to find inspiration. And this really encouraged me to remember to show compassion, not just for those who are suffering or in the hospital, but for everyone. And it's interesting. I'm just going to paraphrase from her book when this is one paragraph. When we evaluate the unique characteristics of the two cerebral hemispheres and how they process information differently, it seems obvious that they would manifest unique value systems that would consequently result in very different personalities. Some of us have nurtured both of our characters and are really good at utilizing the skills and personalities of both sides of the brain, allowing them to support, influence, and temper one another as we live our lives. Other of us, however, have a quite unilateral thinking, either exhibiting extremely rigid thinking patterns that are analytically critical, the extreme left brain, or we seldom connect with a common reality and spend most of our time with our head in the clouds, the extreme right brain. And creating a healthy balance between the two characters enables us to have the ability to remain cognitive, flexible enough to welcome change, which is the right hemisphere, and yet remain concrete enough to stay on a path with the left hemisphere. Learning to value and utilize all of our cognitive gifts opens our lives up to the masterpiece of life we truly are. Imagine the compassionate world we would create if we set our minds to it. And in the book, she talks about how, she lost her left brain function, her right brain kind of took over, and she could realize that, some people were good, bad, or neutral, or how they were approaching her and how it made her feel either very safe or threatened. And she immediately could feel the feelings of her caregivers. And she goes on to say, sadly, the expression of compassion is often a rarity in our society, and many of us spend an inordinate amount of time and energy degrading, insulting, and criticizing ourselves and others, and having a wrong or bad decision. When you berate yourself or you have question who inside of you is doing the yelling and at whom you're yelling. Have you ever noticed how those negative internal patterns have the tendency to create increased level of hostility and or raise levels of anxiety? And to complicate matters even more, have you noticed how negative internal dialogue can negatively influence how we treat others? And thus, what do you want to attract? I would really encourage you to read her book. It's called My Stroke of Insight, and it's a brain scientist's personal journey. She gets very personal in the book. some of the other things that she comments on, in addition to our minds are highly sophisticated. Seek and ye shall find instruments, and we're designed to focus on whatever we're looking for. And for example, if we see red in the world, we're going to find it everywhere. Perhaps in the beginning, a little, but the longer we stay focused on looking for red, and before you know it, I will see red everywhere. There's just some interesting, things that she talks about. I think that reminds us when we're able to balance both hemispheres of our brain, we live a much more balanced life. And to me, being intuitive and having insight really is all about the mirror neurons and having empathy for others. And in the right mind character, there's no judgment of good or bad, right or wrong. So everything exists in a continuum of relativity. And our mind does not perceive or give heed to territories or artificial boundaries like race or religion. I just thought that these were really, really interesting. And there's just so much that she goes on to talk about. And the consciousness of the right mind relates together as the universal tapestry of human potential. And life is good, and we're all beautiful just the way that we are. And, these are things that she talks about that are just really inspiring. And, she says many of us make judgments with our left hemisphere in a very logical manner. And then we're not willing to step into the right. And that's the consciousness of our right hemisphere. For many of us, once we make a decision, we're attached to that decision forever, which is, quite interesting. Somehow we lose the inability to kind of, regulate the balance. The right mind celebrates freedom in the universe, and it's not bogged down by any past or fearful of what our future may or may not bring. And it honors life and health of all the cells. It doesn't care about our body per se. It cares about the fitness of our body, our mental health, and also we recognize as a society our relationship with Mother Earth. In any case, I really encourage you. This is a really great book to kind of, I think, just get what I think of as the anatomy of kind of compassion and how the brain works, and having a great understanding of that. And again, it's My Stroke of Insight with Jill Bolt Taylor, Taylor. She calls herself the singing scientist. And we're going to have to cut to break now. And we're going to listen to a few minutes here of break, and we'll be right back. Thank you so much for listening.
Each month, listen to Live More Radio with co-host Allie Katz. Join Allie and Dr. Pat as Allie introduces new ways to bring balance back to your life through meditation, sleep, and exercise techniques, so you can live your truly authentic life. Stress less, live more. To learn more about Allie, visit livemoreradio.com.
Put a little woohoo in your life with Keys. Keys Clear Protein Waters have 22 grams of smile-making, attitude-adjusting protein in every bottle. Did I mention its tongue-tingling taste? Not just another guilty pleasure. With Keys, you'll enjoy every low-sugar sip and freedom from gluten, lactose, and GMOs. Who needs the fountain of youth when you can find Keys on Amazon or at Keys, Kees, please.com. Put a little woohoo in your attitude with Keys Protein Water.
Are you ready for a radical shift in your way of being? Are you seeking a more deeply connected and fulfilling life? Awakened Living Radio is a show dedicated to helping you embrace a life filled with profound peace, connection, and happiness. TJ Woodward is passionate about helping you find your clarity, balance, and purpose. Join co-host TJ Woodward and Dr. Pat Basili on the first Monday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific Time for Awakened Living Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
I'll be lonely without you, and I'll need your love to see me through. So please believe me.
Good morning. You're listening to Mia Simone with Prescience Life Radio, and again, I have Amy Morgan here with me, and in a moment she's going to be talking about some interesting things in the new moon. One of the other sort of leading authorities in brain research I wanted to mention is Teresa Bullard, and that's Theresa. Her last name is Bullard, and she can be found at quantumleapalchemy.com. She's a leading expert, and she lives here in Los Angeles. And, I met her at a science and non-duality conference, and she's really quite something. And she's really exploring like the cutting edge of brain scientists. So someone else very interesting to look up. Our station number, if you'd like to call in and have a reading, is toll-free 800-930-2819, and we definitely welcome calls for free readings. And I'm going to hand you over to Amy right now. She's going to talk a little bit about the new moon. And good morning, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Mia?
Great. Thank you for joining me. And I'm going to let you take over and talk about the new moon.
Okay. Well, it was really interesting that you opened up the show with the whole concept of compassion, because on Friday we had a new moon in Cancer. Now, this is, again, looking at the sidereal astrology as opposed to the tropical. So not so much what you'd see in a magazine, but where the stars and the planets actually are at this time. And we just had a new moon in Cancer, combining it with the forces of Venus in retrograde and Mars in Cancer. Now, Cancer energy has a lot to do with mother energy. And so for you to have gotten to experience what the ER mothering is, in relation to the whole left brain, right brain conversation you were discussing, it's a very left brain world. The Western society is all based on logic and efficiency, and it's a very masculine world. Yet the more that we're able to incorporate our intuitive side or our right brain side or our feminine side or our compassionate side, we actually improve our capacity to function in the left brain world because we become more powerful. If you have access to both sides of your brain, both the masculine and the feminine, it makes it a lot easier to be successful in the world because you are able to get a dual perspective on the situation. And I think that's what you're not so much feeling at the ER is no compassion, but it's become more like a factory with people. And I think with this new moon in Cancer, what we can all look at is how we are mothering ourselves, mothering our friends, mothering our children, mothering the planet. And it's all kind of a piece of the puzzle, I think, that we need to look at in terms of incorporating femininity and empowering femininity without having femininity necessarily be the same thing as masculinity. So when women want to be treated equally, yes, but we're also need to be treated as women, not necessarily as men. So with the new moon in Cancer, it could bring up a lot of different things for a lot of different people. A lot of people have been struggling emotionally. They've been getting hit in different places of their lives and having to deal with some deep-seated emotions. Now, in addition, the South Node is in Pisces. So when you have Cancer energy with a new moon, which is water, and then the South Node in Pisces, which is also water, those water constellations kind of connect. And so you could be dealing with a lot of issues from your past. You could be dealing with some past love relationships that are also coming in with Saturn and Scorpio. So there's almost a grand water trine really forcing us to look at the feminine aspect of our lives and how are we addressing the subconscious parts of ourselves? How are we addressing our feelings? It's a very difficult thing for people to process all of the emotions that they're feeling. So they turn to sometimes negative habits or destructive behavior or end up acting irrationally rather than being able to feel everything that they need to feel and have a positive way to kind of cathartically release the emotions, whether it's a ritual or a habit. It's a really interesting idea to figure out a way to meditate or pray or whatever works best for you in order to almost purge yourself of all of the feelings that are kind of coming up through your life at this time. And then looking at the new moon in Cancer, you're going to have about 29 days of really needing to deal with this emotional part of your life, however it affects your chart specifically. In addition, the North Node is connected with the moon today, and that's all looking at Virgo. So we're looking at some details, we're looking at some analysis, we're actually looking at health today and really looking at how to create habits for ourselves that are beneficial and easy to follow, and then create positive changes so that we're not caught up in the emotional trappings of our past and overwhelmed so much by these feelings that are coming up from more of the right brain side of our life that we're becoming incapacitated in terms of functioning in the world. So really the next, 2 to 3 weeks is learning about taking all of your feelings, finding a positive way to channel them. And so you're able to function in the world without being overwhelmed by all of the feelings that are coming in. Does that make sense, Mia?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's really, really fascinating what you're talking about. And it, and going back to Jill's book, which I found really, really valuable and comforting to me at the same time, she talks about, unfortunately, as a society, we don't teach our children to tend carefully to the garden of their minds. And she found life to be too short to be occupied with pain from the past. And the only real mechanism for change is us to recognize that we have our own faults and sort of being able to evaluate our shortcomings. And it's interesting because she, in this book, talks about during the process of recovery, she found that a portion of her character was stubborn, arrogant, sarcastic, and jealousy resided within the ego center of the wounded left brain, the portion of her ego that held the capacity for her to be a sore loser, hold a grudge, tell lies, and even seek revenge. And reawakening those personality traits was very disturbing to the newly found innocence of the right brain. With lots of effort, she consciously had chosen to recover her mind's ego center without giving renewed life to some of those old circuits. So it is possible for change. And it's interesting in chapter 17, and she talks about owning your power. And what I had scribbled as a note on there is responsibility. When we have power, we have responsibility with that. And she defines responsibility as ability to choose how we respond to stimulation coming through our sensory systems at any moment in time. And if you approach her with anger and frustration, make the choice to either reflect your anger and engage in an argument, or to be empathetic and approach you with compassion and heart, which is the right brain or the intuitive center. And what most of us don't realize is that we unconsciously make choices about how we respond all the time. By paying attention to the choices, we automatic circuitry is making, owning our power and making more conscious choices. In the long run, we all have to take responsibility for what we attract in our life. And there's nothing more empowering than the realization that we don't have to think thoughts that bring us pain and that cause these types of anger and outbursts, and being able to take control. And, that means power doesn't take sides. That's what I've learned. And, this incident and what Amy's talking about, it really has become very near and dear to my heart. And I decided that I wanted to make a commitment to just create more awareness of kind of what I'm thinking and where my thoughts are going and how I interact with people. And sometimes a few kind words or just understanding someone else's point of view can literally change their lives, particularly if they're not feeling well. It brings you to a state of vulnerability. And, you really have the ability to by having a tiny bit of empathy for someone, to really change their life and to heal. And so I think all of these things are really important to remember. Again, our station number is 800-930-2819, and we're going to have to cut to break now, but hope to hear from some of you, and please call in for a free reading or any other questions or comments. And thank you so much.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I want to
marry. Each month, listen to Live More Radio with co-host Allie Katz. Join Allie and Dr. Pat as Allie introduces new ways to bring balance back to your life through meditation, sleep, and exercise techniques, so you can live your truly authentic life. Stress less, live more. To learn more about Allie, visit livemoreradio.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mtheholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Are you seeking a more deeply connected and fulfilling life? Do you often find yourself feeling overwhelmed, overworked, or exhausted? Are you ready to embrace a life filled with more love, connection, and joy? Best of the month list and 5-star rated on Amazon, Conscious Being by author TJ Woodward will awaken you to your true nature. To learn more about how to get your copy of Conscious Being, visit consciousbeingbook.com today.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatShow.com for listening times in your area.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Good morning. This is Mia Simone, and we're here with Amy Morgan, the Intuitive Astrologer, and together we're going to be doing readings, and our first caller is Candace from Louisiana. Good morning, Candace. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a beautiful day here today in West Hollywood. What's your question here today?
Well, in October of last year, I met somebody, and it was an incredible connection, unlike anything I've ever met, anybody I've ever met in my life. It's a connection that I really can't explain. It's something I've never experienced with anybody. And I don't understand it, but I would love to know more if there's something to have something to do with this connection on why me and this person met.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last little part. You'd like to understand it, and then I'm sorry, you trailed off a little bit there.
Yeah, I would love to understand this connection and why did I meet this person? What's this person meant to be in my life, or a specific reason or whatever. That's something I really like to know, because this person is like, for some odd reason, I feel that we're supposed to do something together. I don't know why.
You know that you won't be together? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said that I feel that we're supposed to do something together.
Okay. Do you feel okay with giving me the first name of that individual, just the first name?
Sure. His name is Matt.
Okay, and I'm going to let Amy talk here first, and then I'll give my input.
Well, right now we're going through Venus in retrograde, so there could be some issues that are coming up for you just through like from now for the next 3 weeks around love. And what it's doing is it's making you kind of analyze everything for you, because you are such a intellectual person. You almost want to try not to put your relationship under such intensive analysis, and just try and feel the relationship rather than try and intellectually, pick it apart, because it's almost the picking apart of everything that takes away from the experience of the relationship in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's interesting because in many ways somehow there's quite a few entanglements here, and I typically don't go into past lives, but it does feel, I think that the sun, the moon, the earth, everything is cyclical, and I believe that our lives are as well. And it feels like there's so many entanglements here that there is a familiarity to this individual, and to me it feels like I don't know how old you are at this point, but I feel almost like this individual has ignited and he sees something within you that thus far in your life no one else has been able to see. And it's something very beautiful. And it looks like for a long time, like you, I don't know if this is unconscious for you, but you wanted someone to acknowledge and kind of validate that, you know, you're beautiful inside and out, and for someone to see that. And I feel like you seems like you give a lot to other people, and that there's difficulty sometimes setting spiritual or physical boundaries with you. And in a way, when I look at your heart, you're almost like, what does this individual want with me, in a way that I think also, just brings a little bit element of fear to the situation, and a feeling of a little bit of vulnerability around the situation and how it might grow. And if he really gets to know you, is that love going to continue? And I absolutely agree with you that I think this individual is in your life for a reason. And, I agree with Amy, and I think just, try to keep the relationship in present time. And, the future is a little bit like the weather now. The further out we get, the more difficult it is to predict. It changes often. And, just taking this one day at a time is going to be much more enjoyable for you, and observing kind of how you grow with this person and through how they're able to observe you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I really think that you are going to almost carry this person a little bit energetically. You're going to be like the responsible one. You're going to be the one that makes everything organized and happen. So use all of that analysis energy of your chart to help this person ground, as opposed to analyzing and picking apart the relationship. And it will probably move a lot quicker in terms of getting to the place of intimacy that you're looking for.
Are you also? Pardon me. Are you also? I think there's a little bit of a delay, and also searching or struggling with your career, or having some type of career that you really identify with and feel passionate.
Music is my passion. When it comes to that, it's been kind of delayed, not because of choice, but other things in my life. I am divorced, and so getting back on my music path, it hasn't been the easiest thing. Financial wise, I've had some difficulties, and but this is something that I'm not giving up. So hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah.
And what I was going to comment about that is, I really feel that this individual is here to bring more definition sort of to who you are and the image of yourself, and to be able to see yourself as very capable and, of having self-esteem. I think you're, a beautiful woman. I think that has taken a lot of really extreme blows during your lifetime, and I love the fact that it doesn't feel like you have any sort of long-term resentments or anything built up there, and you're just kind of trying to feel the wonder and enlightenment that comes along with the relationship. And I think that in that is definitely helping you connect better with yourself and being able to stand up for yourself and understand, what you'd like to do and how really truly valuable you are and your strength. And I hope that answers your question. And I'm sorry, time is short. We have quite a few callers coming in, and we're going to have to go to the next caller. But thank you so much, Candace, and I wish you the best of luck in this situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Jackie, and she's from Idaho.
Actually, she's from Kent, Washington. She's born and raised from Idaho. And
pardon me.
Yeah, that's all right. No big deal. So, Jackie, welcome to the show. What's up?
Jackie, hey.
Hey, Amy, and thank you for taking my call. I have been single for a number of years, and I've just really recently started to look for a relationship again. And was wondering from my chart what you see, and also, Mia, what you see.
And I'm going to let Amy comment on that first.
Well, first off, Jackie, I don't have your time, so I'm just going to look at the chart without the actual time, which does limit some of the specifics. However, in terms of looking at love relationships for you, you're going to have a very interesting summer, or the rest of summer and fall, so to speak, because you've got Jupiter and the sun coming around where you have Saturn, and you have Saturn at 22 degrees. So whether it's actual work or charity work or some sort of business process, that's actually where you're going to encounter the person that you'll end up connecting with and having this relationship with. And also the North Node has just passed over where you have the South Node. So you've been kind of really redefining what it is that you want in partnership in the first place. And one part of you thought maybe that you needed one character in terms of having the perfect partner. But really what I think that you're discovering about yourself is your need for somebody who will almost let you be yourself and let you be the more feminine and kind of let yourself walk away from having to hold the masculine reins. So I feel like in terms of a new relationship for you, definitely something towards the end of fall and the beginning of winter, you should have an opportunity to really connect with a relationship through some sort of work project, even if it's not something that you're currently employed with, even if it's just charity work that you're doing.
It's interesting. I was getting a very similar timeline. I was getting, time doesn't really exist, so I like to be a little conservative when I'm talking about time. And I do feel within the next 3 months that also there will be an interesting relationship. I almost feel like there's going to be a really interesting relationship that you're going to grow quite, considerably from. And then after that is, I think, where you're going to meet someone that you'll actually be with the rest of your life. I don't know why. I just get the feeling that there may be
more than one. I agree.
Yes, there may be more than one. And I think it's going to give you a really broad range of experiences that you've never had before. And it's interesting because I almost feel like the first individual that comes into your life is a fabulous individual, but maybe a little bit ungrounded or, not having taking a lot of responsibility. And I feel that the second or possibly third, I'm just going to put that out there. But I feel like it's going to come very quickly. And I think probably by next year, my guess is you'll be in a committed relationship in either some type of partnership or, living situation. I do feel like there's going to be a lot of travel coming up with one of these individuals and potential move for you. And the move also may be around work or I'm not quite certain about, the exact specifics as to why the move, but I do feel like there's going to be a significant move coming up for you that will it's going to bring I feel like through your life, maybe you've struggled with feeling there's a lot of energy around your first chakra of feeling like you belong to a tribe. Most people think that survival is, eating and shelter. And in this case, I really feel like it's having a tribe for you. And yeah, so good things coming up for you. And I definitely think you're going to be in a long-term relationship soon. And I'm looking at the time. We're going to have to cut to break right now. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm sorry we have to be so brief, but I wish the best of luck to you, Jackie, and we're going to cut to break now.
Only you care when I needed a friend.
Tired of traditional talk? People pontificating about this or that, the left or the right. Sometimes the truth is just all lost in the noise. Tune in each week to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher on TransformationTalkRadio.com, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, as nationally known guests talk about what's important to you, your life, your concerns, and your success. Tune in and turn on to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher. Visit ChuckGallagher.com for more information.
Can you keep your lifestyle in retirement? It's a question people often wonder about. Ask Ameriprise financial advisor Jeff Packman about the new Confident Retirement approach. You and Jeff can break down retirement planning step by step to get the real answers you need. Call Jeff Packman, financial advisor, today at 425-453-0272. Office is located at 601 108th Avenue Northeast, Suite 1800, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. The Confident Retirement approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment and advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
Tune in to the hit show Masters Chambers with your trusted friend Connie Fife. Mondays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Each week, Connie will connect you with the best of the best thought leaders from around the globe to share their strategies and best practices. Getting better together. To book Connie, visit ConnieFifeSpeaks.com.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new. For God bless me.
Hello, this is Mia Simone and Amy Morgan, and good morning, Patty from Chicago. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. I'm enjoying the show.
Oh, great. I'm so happy.
I have a relationship question. I met a friend from 20 years ago, and we're going to have dinner this week. But we had dinner 3 other times, but it was like very sporadic. You know, it wasn't consistent. I just was wondering if this friendship will develop into a deeper, loving, caring relationship.
Hi, Patty. This is Amy. Looking at your chart.
Hi, Amy.
Looking at your chart right now, you actually have so much going on in your chart, especially looking at your past love relationships. I believe that you've been with this person that you're talking about before in your past life. And so there's this very strong connection there with this person. And on some level, this person changes you and allows you to move forward from everything that's happened to you in the past and helps you to really step into the person that you're supposed to be. Just make sure that you are really willing to put yourself out there, because you have a tendency to not necessarily express the intensity of your emotions, and that's what distances people from you. So if you want this person to come closer to you and have a more intimate relationship with you, you need to almost open yourself up and express yourself and kind of put your emotions out there a little bit rather than always trying to contain them. And the more that you are, it doesn't need to be a blatant smack in the face, but you really need to begin to open up yourself and seem like you're available to this person, because you're sending out a little bit of mixed messages, which is why it hasn't blossomed in the way that you want it to. But if this is something that you want, all you need to do is really open yourself up and say, I'm ready and willing and able, and I want this, and then it will come right into your lap.
Oh, because I do want it very much. I do. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's interesting. What I wanted to say about that is also, once you start to open up, just remember to keep a lot of balance there. And it's interesting because I get from this other individual that there's definitely mixed messages being sent and kind of an unknown of what really is occurring. And this individual feels just really, really observant somehow, and happens to notice a lot of details, I would say really about everything. And it seems very kind of methodical to me. And also I get that there's a fear, from their side of rejection. So I think that whatever you can do to help kind of alleviate that fear, it looks like they've been through a difficult time themselves and maybe have had, partners that weren't quite committed or various things like that I feel like you're kind of the perfect person to nurture that and create safety around the relationship. So I would just pay close attention to that and definitely be really open and honest and just kind of go for what you want.
And take the lead in you can start it. You can dress a little bit sexier than you normally would. You can, be affectionate. I think that the more action that you take in that direction, the easier it will be. You'll kind of be the icebreaker.
Yeah.
So I should be more aggressive, is what you're saying?
I necessarily wouldn't use the word aggressive, but yes.
More assertive.
That's a nicer word, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, assertive. Okay. I
down and just take him out.
Yeah.
And so I just feel, I guess I was waiting for him to
don't wait.
Make a decision.
No.
The other thing is that I really highly recommend that you keep other options open and try not to get too fixed on this. Sometimes it creates a tremendous amount of resistance because, we kind of unconsciously have a habit of creating so much focus that people misinterpret it as being smothered or something. And so you don't want to create that. But yeah, you're going to be just fine. And again, it's interesting. It's the same, as the other reading. I personally feel like this may not be the relationship that lasts for a long time, but I do feel like love is very, very close to you. So I want you just to be open. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm sorry we have to start closing down here, but good luck to you, Patty, and in your quest to find love. We're going to go ahead and close down now. I just wanted to read something really quickly from Jill Boltz Taylor's book. She says, consequently, I choose to be compassionate with others when I consider how much painful emotional baggage we're biologically programmed to carry around. I recognize that mistakes will be made, but this does not mean that I need to either victimize myself or take your actions and mistakes personally. Your stuff is your stuff. My stuff is my stuff. Feeling deep inner peace and sharing kindness is always a choice for either of us. Forgiving others and forgiving myself is always a choice. Seeing this moment as a perfect moment is always a choice. So thank you so much for that, Jill. Again, I'm Psychic Mia Simone. I'm an avant-garde intuitive consultant, entrepreneur, and we have the amazing Amy Morgan, who's an intuitive astrologer, She can be reached at 310-227-6184. I can be reached at 310-409-0333. And just please just take a moment, and even if you can just make one compassionate decision per day for 5 seconds, it's going to change the world. Thank you.
You've been listening to Prescience Life Radio with host Mia Simone. Mia is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Listen live to Prescience Radio with host Mia Simone and discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. To learn more about Mia, visit presciencelife.com.